जो ऑर्गेनिक वे में डिजीज मैनेजमेंट कितना परसेंटेज ये है यानी वैलिड है, कितना परसेंटेज तक हम ये कर सकते हैं? एंड
Yeah, start. No? Okay. अच्छा, एक मिनट. So, good evening all. So, sorry for keeping waiting because I do apologize for this delay. We had some another program which took a long time. So, I reached here around 15 minutes late. As for the last live sessions, we have discussed about briefly about the organic farming and the importance of organic farming and how the people are realizing to transfer the lands from the conventional to organic farming, how we can bring more and more land under the organic coverage, how more and more farmers can be converted to organic. So, that because the all objective is to have a quality food production, to have a good air, quality air to breathe, to have the quality water to drink, because the most of the groundwater are contaminated due to heavy use of insecticides, pesticides and fertilizers. That causes serious health problem, as you see the cancer or the cardiovascular disease. Many this disease are very increasing, growing over the years, and the number of populations are through this disease they are making highly vulnerable. That comes from many other regions, but food is one of the regions. So, what we eat that decide how our health to be. So, if you take a good quality food, good air to breathe and good quality of water, so this will have a better health or health benefit, and we can have a healthy life with the healthy food. So, with this we can take some of the questions. I know that the many questions are there. So, some of the questions we have answered in the last live session. So, we will try to see the questions and we will answer. I hope to satisfy with this answer. So, let us start this question answer. So, is the Subhas what is the name? No, is student's name? Student's name? Sorry. So, the question is vermicompost is not good for organic farming as per Subhashis Palekar. Okay. See, how can you say that vermicompost is not good for organic farming? First question. Okay. If some person has quoted that Subhashis Palekar, vermicompost is not good for organic farming. See, you have to do some scientific understanding. Why? Because if you go for organic farming, you have to supply the nutrients as of the requirement of the crop. If you do not apply any fertilizers, okay, you go for the without in control, no applications as per the soil, because our soil is so sick now due to intensive use of chemical fertilizers and the pesticide as well. The soil health has been deteriorated. I can give example, because the soil has become highly acidic due to continuous and the heavy dose of application of chemical fertilizer. Soil is a living body, like if you a human being that feels the acidity, I say gas formation takes place, acidity. In that case, can the person can feel comfortable with the acidity problem? Because with the acidity, if you take any food, so first of all your the digestive capacity will be low. So, your the hungriness for the food or desire for the food will decrease, you cannot take the food, your affinity for the food that will decrease, and food digestion capacity will decrease, and also this will not make you any encouraging for the activity, your efficiency will go down, you cannot be active. The soil is exactly like your human body system, soil is also a living system, and the soil can be productive, it is a neutral pH range. If it is acidic pH range, then the whatever fertilizer you apply, whatever management operation you do, unless until you correct the soil acidity, you cannot have a efficiency of your input, high efficiency of your input application. So, due to intensive use of chemical fertilizers or the rapid use of chemical fertilizers, the soil has become very sick or mostly acidic. So, we need to correct acidity. Of course, you can have natural minerals are there, lime you can apply to correct the soil acidity. But if you do not apply vermicompost, you must go for okay, the vermicompost not only source of organic farming. There are several other biofertilizers can be used, but if you say vermicompost is not good for organic farming, on what context? If somebody says this is not good, he has to prove on what criteria he says that vermicompost is not good for organic farming. So, that has to be very clear. If they says okay, there is heavy metals or any contaminants or any pollutants there, that has to be established scientifically, then you can say okay, vermicompost is not good for organic farming. The vermicompost is prepared from the cow dung, the excreta of the cow. So, cow dung as you say is highly energetic, rich in many nutrients, many enzymes, and the cow dung because of excreta, because the cow, that horn, cow horn, that is the receptor of the solar energy, and with that solar energy that is a digestion of the food materials, and that is high because solar energy is very powerful energy, and through that process many of the pathogens they are also destroyed, and this materials cow dung, that is odorless, the only excreta the odorless. So, that is used for the holy purpose also, any holy purpose we use cow dung, any purification we use cow dung. And you see in the villages earlier what is the now we do not see anything that customs the tradition you can say, in village earlier if you go back 1950, 60, even if 1970 you can see, you have seen in our childhood the mother, every family mother used to get up very early, and she used to bring the fresh cow dung from the cattle shed and mix with water and make a cow dung slurry, and with that slurry she used to spray the courtyards very early morning. That is the job of the mother of or any lady of a family. They used to get up very early and they make a slurry of the cow dung and water, and they used to spray around the courtyard. This is a very common practices the tradition used to do. The purpose of that, why they are using cow dung? Because they think it as a holy, a purification, because cow dung is a very anti-infestant, and because if you wash use your hand and spray around the courtyard, and this can keep the family members free from any the diseases, or they will protect the crop, protect the family, the house from any external the virus or any infection of the pest and diseases. So, that is why the cow dung is the cow dung is a powerful source of the energy and the powerful nutrients for the crops also, that contains many nutrients and many vitamins, many enzymes also they are present, and also that is used for the earthworm. The earthworm consume the cow dung, that gets energy, and that helps the decomposition of the vermicompost. So, this cow dung is not at all, we are vermicompost, you are using cow dung, and the composting process we are composting the waste materials, the leaf, the organic waste, the plant crop residues. It is not you cannot say that is not good for organic farming. Vermicompost is definitely, if somebody says not good for organic farming. So, let us have some scientific literature, scientific review, or any published literature there with scientific journals that can say that okay, vermicompost you cannot use for organic farming. Then we can we can go for the debate on that one, whether we can use vermicompost or we will not use vermicompost. Okay. Next question. So, Anuris, the student is up to what extent mechanization permitted in organic farming. So, see we want that there should be more and more mechanization in organic farming for any aspect, even in conventional farming you go or the organic farming. So, what is the mechanization in conventional and mechanization in organic farming? The problem India is facing today is the labor problem. If you go to for the farming is not profitable unless until it is mechanized, because the first of all the labor problem is there, labors are not available, and also labor cost has become very expensive. If you go for the farming using labor, that become quite loss, you will not get maximum profit, because that labor expense is very high. So, to minimize those things, so we should go for mechanizations, and mechanization can be done even for the compost preparation of course. So, if you have why you say the compost preparation can be fully automatic. So, automation can be brought, because once you bring mechanizations, that increases the precisions. you can have a better compost through mechanization than the manual methods, and you can have a better productions through mechanization than the manual intervention, because the mechanizations is a the precision. If you to attain precision, mechanization is must. Through mechanization, suppose you apply fertilizers, right? If you apply vermicompost also, compost apply. Application manually and application through mechanization is different. Manually you can broadcast, you can go for this incur in the surface layer, but through proper mechanizations, this can be proper amount can be applied, and at the because proper depth it can be applied, and this can be well mixed in soil through mechanization as compared to manual intervention. So, I think so as much as possible we must go for mechanizations in every steps, so that we can bring precision. At the same time we should see, so the person should get, because once you go for the employment generation of employment, because the laborers are not available in the village, and if you depend upon the labor, you want to engage labor, whatever labor available that can be engaged, but the rest of the work can be used by, can be done by mechanization, so that the farming can be profitable, and of course, the production can be improved by using mechanization. So, next questions by same Anuris. Is zero budget natural farming profitable to farmers? See Anuris, so there is a debate the zero budget natural farming, but now the scientists, Indian scientists, they have rejected this the move as zero budget natural farming. We can say farming, can you do a farming with a zero budget? Can you believe in this one? Why, how can you do a zero budget farming? Definitely there are some inputs are there, some costs are associated with this. We cannot say zero budget, and how can you, it is very difficult to understand how can you say zero budget natural farming is fine, you can do, but whether we can meet the productions, we can get the productions, can you meet the production as of conventional farming, because we do not want to sacrifice the production level, because we need to maintain production level to meet the need of the people, to meet the need of generations. We do not want to sacrifice that production. So, can you have the production, same productions without applying any fertilizers or any organic manures? The natural way farming, I do not agree with the zero budget natural farming, something has to be done, it should be scientifically, it should be accepted, scientifically it should be the principles, scientific principles should be understood, and it should be the concept should be sufficiently addressed and proved, the field levels applications that must be experimented, and the principles involved in zero budget natural farming. How can you say zero, how is it zero budget without any investment, how can, so I do not fully agree with this one. Okay. If something is done somewhere, that has to be sufficiently established and the proven concept, then we may look into this. Then question is from Meenakshi, effectiveness of organic ways of disease management percent. So, see the percentage, it is a very I cannot say exactly what percentage we can manage, it depends how do we manage. If organic farming we can manage 100%, and we may fail to manage also. So, how do you take care of the crops, even if 100% can be managed through organic, we have done in our farm also, we are not applying any pesticides, we are growing rice without applying single pesticides, even if we are growing the Basavog rice, no fertilizers, no pesticides, we are producing Basavog rice and there is no disease infestation. So, in case of organic farming, we can manage 100% pest and disease problem, if you follow the principles, because most of the cases the organic products, so they are the less infested by pest and disease, and if you can, the prevention is better than cure. So, in this organic farming, you should not wait till the appearance of the disease or the infestation of the pests. So, there is a regular application you can follow, as you discussed in the lectures, you can follow different integrated methods, you can follow the physical method, you can follow the mechanical method, and you can follow the biological methods. So, if you have integrated the management using this organic approach as physical, mechanical or biological methods, then probably I am sure that you will be able to minimize the pest and disease problem. You can have a crop without any pest and disease. So, because you have to take care of the crops through all aspects following the physical methods, mechanical methods and biological methods, and you have to apply the biological biopesticides, either the you can prepare from the, even if no earlier there was no pesticides, how the farmers were, if you go traditional farming, how the farmers are controlling the pest and disease. Of course, there is less pest and disease, but still they are able to control pest and disease by using only cow dung and cow urine. So, you are using cow dung and the cow urine with water, they are spraying on the crop field, that way, because if you spray regularly also, that way it can minimize the pest and disease problem. So, yeah, you can manage up to, even if I can say you can manage about 100% if you follow fully organic principle, that way we can do. So, next is Moji Alagan. So, question is earthworm initial growth occurs through okay. So, question because I am not able to get it, yeah, which? Okay, okay. So, it gets it earthworm need the feed material like your nutrients. The crop needs the nutrients also as needs. So, the nutrients requirement, the hormones, vitamins, the nutrients, that is available from the cow dung. We provide the cow dung, the fresh cow, or maybe 1 to 2 days old cow dung. The cow dung is the food material for the earthworm. The earthworm get the food material from the cow dung and use the food, and they go on the either the use in the decomposition of the waste materials, as you say, either the any waste material they do decompose, they do eat, or they make it small, very small pieces, the waste materials, and by the food materials they get from the cow dung. The cow dung, as I discussed earlier detail, is a source of energy and the source of food for this earthworm. And then there is for giving enriched nutrients to mango crop for about 50 acres, which method of organic farming is suitable? See, so the see the acre, okay, because as you did, if you go to our the classes, I think we have covered for the mango crops, nutrient management in mango crops. So, we have discussed about the fertilizer requirement, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and probably we have I will check that. So, we have discussed this one probably. So, we have discussed this in that lecture class. If you follow the lecture, mango nutrient management, spacing we have given, and each peats, for every peat how much nitrogen fertilizer is required, phosphatic, potash, that is also discussed in the class. So, in a area what is the spacing, if you know the spacing, either the 5 meter, 7 meter spacing is given. If spacing is known and the peat basis how much nutrient amount is given, and for 1 acre area how much peat will be required, that you can calculate from the spacing, and accordingly you can calculate how much nutrient required at the beginning when you go for the seedling, putting the seedling. Before putting seedling, the required amount of nutrient has to be applied, then the peat has to be left for incubation some periods, then the peat is again reopened and the seedlings are planted, and the regularly for each year after planting each year how much nitrogen is to be applied, that already discussed in our theory classes. I hope you will follow this. If you go to theory classes, details are given for the nutrient management, from that you will be able to get it. So, the Dr. Tamnit Kaur. So, the feed for earthworm in, so this is same question. So, I have answered earlier, because the earthworm needs some vitamins, enzymes, or the hormones or the nutrients, those are available from the cow dung. The cow dung we have supplied, that is a beautiful source of the feed material for the earthworm. Earthworm get the energy or the food from this cow dung, fresh cow dung. So, again from same students, Dr. Tamnit Kaur, role of cow dung in same cow dung in vermicomposting. So, I have discussed in detail in this. So, I hope you will get this one. So, Minakshi, is addition of rock phosphate, dolomite, mica a sustainable method to enhance nitrogen use efficiency? Actually Minakshi, what I say, to increase nutrient use efficiency, we do not add this dolomite, mica. Of course, that is one of the aspect, the amount can be reduced. That way, what you can do by enriching with the particular nutrient, suppose a phosphorus. If you go for the conventional vermicompost, you are applying around 5 tons, 6 tons, 7 tons per hectare. But if you go for enriched vermicompost, the volume of requirement of the compost can be reduced. By this way, we can increase the use, because when the amount we are applying same, the lower for the same amount of nutrient. Suppose you want 100 kg nitrogen. If 100 kg nitrogen is available from 5 tons of compost and same is available from 1 ton of enriched compost, definitely when you use the less amount, that means the production remains same, that increases the nutrient use efficiency. So, to have a not only the use efficiency, but also the availability, it is very how we can make the 5 ton, 6 ton compost available. Availability is a question. So, we cannot meet the demand. So, it is a bulk amount, the availability is a problem for farming. So, 5 ton, 6 ton huge amount may not be available. Whether you can reduce the size reduction, volume reduction by enriching it with the nutrients by natural way, without adding any chemical. If you enrich with nutrient natural way, then definitely you will be able to increase the nutrient use efficiency. At the same time, we can minimize you can reduce the volume of the input requirement, that is also very important. And next question from Anrish. In one of the lecture, it was said that vermicompost act as a buffer, maybe by adding it reduces the pH. See what do you mean by buffer means, if you have the vermicompost means organic matter. If soil is rich in organic matter, that increases buffering capacity. Buffering capacity is the resistant to any changes. If soil is now acidic, it will not change to the neutral pH. The pH is a high buffering capacity. Or the alkali, it will have high buffering capacity, high organic matter, it may not change. But usually you have the high buffering capacity of the soil, the high organic carbon, that increases buffering capacity. If there is a high buffering capacity, if you apply chemical fertilizer, heavy dose of chemical fertilizer, this soil may not become very quickly, or it may not become acidic. If the buffering capacity is very high, even to apply the pesticides, the pesticide applied, so uptake of plant by pesticide will be reduced if the soil has high buffering capacity, high organic matter content. So, the pesticide intake by these roots to the plant system, that can be reduced the having the higher organic carbon content in soil. They can, so this is the having higher organic carbon content, it increases buffering capacity, and also the pesticide availability for the crops, the root zone, that can be also reduced. The soil has the high organic matter content, organic carbon content. Then second question is chronal. How can we organically lower the soil pH? My soil pH has been peaked to 8.6. So, most of the why you can lower this one, the usually is a very high pH. We do organically, you cannot lower very quickly. To have a lowering, we can use the gypsum. Actually, the gypsum can be used for lowering the pH to low range, but organically, because most of the organics they have the neutral pH. So, either the acidic soil or alkali soils. If you have the alkali soils usually more than 8.5 pH, in that case if you apply the materials, organic materials of the lower pH, definitely it will reduce the pH. It may take some longer time, but it will definitely have because the organic materials have the lower pH as compared to your soil. So, adding the materials of the low pH, that can reduce the pH of your soil. Yes. Next is from the many students of the same question, Tamrit, Anita, Rajat, Antara, Krishna, Satrupa and Jai. So, exam related pattern. So, see we have discussed in the last session also. There are three parts are there. Yeah, one is for the recall. Recall means So, whatever we have covered in lecture, we will give a multiple choice question. So, this may be numerical values, that may be qualitative questions. So, from multiple choice you have to choose the correct answer, and also we have discussed that when you give some numerical some contents, we give some range of values. So, that will not be any confusing, there is no need of anything mugging up. No, from the approximate value, suppose I say the vermicompost Newton content how much range. So, in normal vermicompost 10 content, somebody says okay 1 2. So, you give some range. It is not like that chemical fertilizer, it does not contain 46% nitrogen, more than 20-30% nitrogen. So, we give some range pattern from the recall. So, from that you will be able to answer, and the one section is the assignment, that comes directly from the assignment. Whatever the questions we have covered assignment as a multiple choice, that direct question from the assignment test. And the third part is your you have to write the true or false, this is very qualitative. So, only the statement is given, either you have to say the statement is true or it is false. And the fourth part, 4 parts are there. The fourth part is a numeric part. Numeric means you have to the question is given, there may be the blank fill up, the question will be asked, you have to write the answer. The answer is not, there is no multiple choice. So, you have to write the exact answer. This there may be numericals, there may be some short words may be there, and the words probably common we have discussed in the class, we covered in class. So, based on the question it will not be, because you will not able to mug up everything for this one, because the questions those numerical values, those values we are required to remember, only those things you need to remember. Suppose like number of hours in a day, something has to be remembered, but not everything that should be marked up. Which things which will help you in future, only those things required to be remembered, those things we may ask in numerical, not the unnecessary things which are not required. And the same question also from the question pattern from Krishna, for arhar, groundnut, wheat, rice, what kind of question can be asked? Oh, this see, the question can be asked from any point, depending upon our, because while you are putting questions, we see what lectures we have covered. So, based upon our lecture materials, so we are putting the questions. See, arhar, groundnut, wheat, rice. So, what kind of question you intend to know from here? So, example I can give the arhar crop, groundnut crop, these are the leguminous crop, right, and the wheat and rice, they are the cereal crops. And leguminous crop, you see, if I say the question, what is the nitrogen management in leguminous crops or the cereal crops, especially for the nitrogen requirement. Which crop require high level of nitrogen fertilizer? N requirement is higher in cereals or the legumes. So, this is the example I am giving. There are many type question can water requirement they differ, their physiological pattern they do differ, the cropping pattern the crop performance, the crop physiology that also differ. So, suppose a nutrient management, definite the legume crops they have require the less N requirement as compared to the low, as compared to the cereals like wheat and rice, because they require the high N requirement for the proper growth and the proper productions as compared to arhar and groundnut, because they are leguminous crops, the crop can fix the atmosphere nitrogen. It is a natural form of nitrogen, biological nitrogen fixation they can do. So, they do not require the external supply of nitrogen or very less amount of external supply for the initial establishment. After the crop established, they can fix their own nitrogen. And their water requirement also differ, because see the rice, if you compare rice and wheat, rice require the high, maximum water among all the crops, but wheat requires less water. So, so if see the lectures, so question can be from the crop water management point of view, nutrient management point of view, the weather requirement, the agroclimatic requirement, and the management of the crops, they are all different for different type of crops. So, question can come from any front, but you have to see the lecture and see what we have covered, accordingly you can get prepared. Next question from Andres. In today newspaper, an article by NABARD says SRI technique is not accepted by many scientists. Is it true, sir? Okay. So, see, so anyway, I have not seen this one. This may be true, I do not say this is a this may be wrong, this may be some. So, what extent true I can say this may be true. There are some difficulties for the SRI technique, but definitely I can say SRI, the system of rice intensification, that gives higher yield as compared to conventional planting. So, the reasons you have discussed in the theory, because no SRI, so as per the we can minimize the seed requirement. In SRI you can use less than 10 kg per hectare seed, if you go for the conventional seed requirement around 50 kg per hectare. But if you come to practice, how the farmers can use SRI, because this is a practical implementation, field level application is somehow tedious as compared to conventional practice. Tedious in the sense you have to use only single seedling, and the farmers are using the conventional nursery growing, and there it may be very difficult to pick up one seedling and plant, that is a tedious job. And moreover, we do not have a mechanical transplanter which can go for the SRI planting. Mechanical transplanter are there for the conventional planting, we can plant the number of 3 or 4 seedlings per hill, which is not feasible for the existing transplanter. That is because of the seedling raising technique can be different. If you make a different seedling raising technique for SRI, then that can be fitted to the conventional transplanter. The first of all, transplanter adaptation in the Indian farmers are very low, because of there are several problems are there, because of the water, they are not able to control the water. And the other problem is that seedling, the seedling, because when you are going for the use the machine transplanting, the seedling raising technique, the specialized seedling raising, where the farmers are not much acquainted with that one, not much familiar. And suppose you are going for the mechanical transplanting, and that case also it depends upon the weather, suppose rainfall is not sufficient, we are going to delay transplanting, the seedling gets spoiled if you are going for the the mechanical transplanting. So, there are some problems actually for SRI. So, that problem does not encourage farmers to go for an SRI. The problem is that you have to use the single seedling, the picking the seedling from the bunch of seedling and planting one seedling per hill, it is a very tedious job, it is a time consuming process and labor consuming process as well. And you should have this seedling of 10 to 15 days, within that you have to plant the seedling, maximum 15 days seedling, small height seedling, that has to be planted. And that creates problem, because when you go for this smaller seedling, and in case of the Indian conditions, you cannot control the water. Suppose today you have planted a small height seedling and tomorrow there is a heavy downpour, that gets the entire seedling gets washed out. So, these are the problems, because of the problems the farmers are not getting are accepting this one, but this system can be when the farmers some area they go for the boro rice, they are using huge amount of water. So, first of all we do not advise boro rice, if even somebody is going for the boro rice, they have to go for only saturations, and by doing SRI system of rice intensification, we can maintain water there, we can go for saturations and single seedling, that can give definitely higher yield as compared to the conventional method. But I agree with that one, the SRI is not well accepted by the farmers because of the operational difficulties. And the question from Kronal, if soil salt content is also very high, how can you get rid of it? Is it possible using organic means? See, a good question I am putting the saline soil, usually for reducing the salt contents in case of the salinity area, we usually advise to go for the ponding, water ponding. So, please put the water, make the standing water, make the bond, make a small check basins, do some check basins. So, keep the ponding water, either rain water or irrigation water, ponding water should be maintained. First of all, by using ponding water, the salt can be leached to deeper zones. When the salts are leached, then you can go for the organic farming. Organic farming definitely that's you can go for that one. And there are some of the the crops we are using, especially for the rice crop, I can say some of the varieties are available, they have the salt tolerant. So, those varieties are available, you can use those salt tolerant varieties, so that you can have a good production from the saline area. Well, So, these are the questions we have received by now. So, I hope I have answered to the point what you need to know, but as for the common question as I see for the organic farming or the vermicomposting. So, that is a misconception, vermicompost cannot be used for organic farming, that is not true. So, any source of organic fertilizers, the natural sources of fertilizer or the organic sources of fertilizers, biofertilizers, bioagents, those can be used in, and also you are encouraging to go for the enriched fertilizer, so that you can minimize the requirement, you can meet the main purpose is how you can meet the requirement of the the crop nutrient requirement by using the organic way. So, by you need to meet the nutrient, because the crop needs certain amount of nutrient for its productions, for its maximum yield, and different crops have different requirement, and some crops are determinant crops like I told rice and wheat, they need nutrient at specific growth stages, and for the some crops like a non-determinant like a tomato or you can say the potato crops, they are the brinjal crops you can say, where the harvesting is not continuous harvesting, not a single stage harvesting, and they are the vegetative reproductive, they are very the parallel, they goes on as a overlapping. In that case, organic farming or the organic input management, that can give the best results, we can have a better productions fully organics. But for the crops like rice and wheat cereal crops, so if you go for the fully organic way, there may be initial setback, there may be initial loss in production, but to compensate the losses, we can have a mix of organic and chemical, and slowly we can reduce the chemical fertilizer and you can convert to organic. And if you go for the profitable, for the commercial way, usually you have to go for the cash crops. Cash crops can give the organic brand, the organic vegetables or organic fruits cash crop, that can give a profitable remunerations through the organic farming. So, this is from Vinay. So, can you use cow dung from biogas plant? Usually, this the biogas plant, that can be the excreta, the waste materials, because you cannot do biogas plant from cow dung. The waste material can be used for vermicomposting. You can use those, because after they make the biogas, those can be utilized for the compost preparations, that can be done. Yeah. So, this is what. So, when you go for the crop selections, as you discussed for the how you can go for transition. So, this is a very important if somebody is going for organic farming, the how can you go for transition to organics, how you can convert your the farmland to organics. So, transition plan we have given. So, do not jump on the entire farmland, do not convert the whole farmland into organic at one time. So, that you can go by step by step. So, divide as you discussed. So, divide the farmland and step by step conversion can be made. So, in the transition phases, because you make a conversion from the chemical to organic farming, do not go for the full conversion of the whole land to organic, we can go for slowly the parts of the land can be converted. And when you are selecting the crops, the initial year of conversion, so select those type of crops, those require less nutrients. So, those crop selection already have discussed in the theory. So, those crops which have the less nutrient requirement, those crops can be taken during the transition, the conversion periods. Before then you can have the as per the crops, as per the requirement and the market demand, what market you have. And if you are going for the commercial organic farmer, organic growers and the organic producers, so look at the market, study the market potential and do the crops which have the market demand, you can sell the crops and you can go for, you can make profitable through organic way. This is from Anurish again. So, is it advisable to leave and follow and to leave land fallow in between crops in organic farming, as some farmers do favoring following conventional. Is it advisable to leave land fallow in between crops in organic farming, as some farmers do following conventional farming? The fallow, keeping the land fallow is different issue. If usually if you add growing sometimes if you grow on crops, the continuous cultivation, that is also somewhere good, because how it happens by doing continuous cultivations, the root material stubbles are left in the soil, and if you are doing organics and through continuous cultivation, that is a good. You are adding your organic inputs and also the soil is getting the root materials. So, usually as you say give and take method, if soil gives you the economic parts, the grain parts, and in case of organic farming, we must leave the residue in the soil. Nowadays, earlier farmers what they used to do, they used to take out the residues for the maybe the feeding the cattle if required, and also the rice crops. Now, the farmers are not taking rice residue, because they are either the burning is not advisable in organic farming. Do not burn it, make it compost or add in soil and go for the natural composting process. The residues should be left, the root portion should be left in the soil, so that soil should get something, because soil is giving something in also you should get back to have a soil by the nutrient fertility balance. So, I do not advise you to keep fallow. Why should you keep? When you have the resource available, keeping fallow means you are not utilizing resources, you are not gaining any return. So, if you are going for the convey the as a commercial scale, as a commercial basis or the production scale, good productions, and you are going for the organic farming, organic producers, then keeping the land ideal or no productions, you are wasting your resources actually. So, do not keep the land fallow, go organic way cultivation, nothing, this is good for the soil, there is no problem in this. So, well, so if there are any more questions, please. Well, so there are many, I saw there are many faculties are here, students are here in this subject. I hope you might have got the inputs, and that will definitely help, because now we want that many are, because this is a awareness, the public awareness among the educated mass, and how we can help the farming community, because farmers he is a poor fellow, usually he cannot sacrifice the production, the farmer's production has to be maintained. He should get the actual return or maybe better returns through organic, he cannot make loss. And if some industry are entering for the organic farming or the organic productions, and they are also the industry taking as a forward contracting, they take some of the farmland from the farmers, and the farmer should get assurance, because whatever production he has to give or production he has to make, he has to get the price. So, those type of cooperative farming or the forward contracting that is required, because farmers can work cooperatively together as a cooperative way, so that they can go for organics, and also crop planning is very important for the particular area, what type of crop you are choosing. Sometimes say no, do not choose for the particular crop, because see in most of the cases in eastern India I can say, because in case of the monsoon season you have to grow rice crop, there is no choice, you have to grow only rice crop, because and again rice crops that is required, because other crops may fail because of the high rainfall region, high rainfall, if you are not sowing the crops in proper time, and because of heavy rainfall you may not get a good productions. But those area, dry area or the low rainfall area, there it can make a very of the water, the irrigation facility is available. If you go for the cash crops or the vegetable crops, even in the monsoon seasons, wet seasons, so you can have the higher returns. So, to make profitable, to have a higher returns as a commercial scale, you must go for the high value crops, which can give a better market value, which can give a higher profit, and that can be done because organic tag. We have to go for organic, because we should be very transparent. We should be, because when you go for organics, people should make a authentications, make believe us that we are doing organically. So, that type of the transparency, because somehow because people they do not believe, because when you sell something, you say organic product, they have some the trust building, the trust building has to come. If something you are selling organically, it must be organic. We have done, you have followed all organic way, and then the consumers, once they get the trust building, they will be happy, they will prefer to buy organic products. And you have to make the awareness among the people, the having a healthy food, you can minimize you can reduce the visiting doctors. Healthy foods will give a healthy life, and with other No, of course, there is other exercise, as you say, the part of the life exercise you must do physical exercise, or the either to go to gym, walking. So, that is required for your the better health. At the same time, you should have a good food, quality food. We can have a good health, better health, because the health is everything. No, if you have a healthy mind, then it will help you to work. You can be productive, you can be highly productive. Your mind is healthy. Your mind is healthy if you are taking a healthy food and also healthy environments. So, food has a great role in keeping some person healthy. So, that is why we are coming organic, now coming organics, and how the purpose is how to minimize the use of chemical fertilizers and the chemical pesticide. We should try to our the maximum the extent, to what extent, as much as possible we should minimize or the use of the chemical fertilizers or the chemical pesticides. So, I can give you only, I have interacted with a few farmers, as I told you earlier also. Some farmers they say even if farmers they are doing discrimination, they are growing some vegetables for their own consumptions, where they are not applying any pesticides or very minimum fertilizers. They are using mostly, or they say we are using most organically, very less chemical fertilizers, mostly organic fertilizer, compost, and no pesticides for their own consumption. And the materials, the product which they are sending to market as a commercial scale, and they are using heavy dose of pesticides. So, they feel that, so they are remaining safe and they are sending poison to the market. So, I told you this is not good practice among the, because we have to educate the farmers, they should not do like this. And I told, see the farmers, even if you are consuming a healthy foods or the healthy vegetables from the garden, but the water you are drinking, that is also contaminated, because the fertilizer you are applying, pesticide you are applying in the field, where the production you are sending to the market for the commercial scale, and the water you are drinking, the ground or the underground water, and the groundwater is contaminated because of your fertilizer pesticide application. It comes from all you cannot, so water comes from somewhere. So, also the air you are breathing, that is also polluted. Now, you can see the patients like the cancer patients or even the heart patients, populations are increasing in village. Earlier village was safe, you are saying the village is a good environment, because you have a good quality of air, because no pollution in village. So, people used to live in village as a healthy environment. Because of the application of the heavy dose of fertilizers and pesticide, now villages you can say highly polluted than the cities, because you are drinking the water that is also contaminated, and the air you are breathing because of the pesticide. Because if somebody farmers have sprayed pesticides in a village, you cannot pass by that field. If you are passing by that field, you will must feel the headache. It is so much pungent, so much heavy dose of pesticide they are applying. So, that way now you have to give a village culture, the village environment is a better environment. So, we must try to minimize or to avoid the use of the chemical fertilizers, and to completely eradicate the use of the pesticides. We follow the organic way, how we can minimize or no, there should be no to pesticide, no application pesticide, and chemical fertilizer only need based, wherever the required to maintain the production, only need based application should be done chemical fertilizer, and we should completely eradicate or avoid the use of the chemical pesticides. We can go for the organic way or the natural way. There are many methods we have discussed, we go for that one, we can minimize the pest problem in organic farming. Yeah. So, we are getting one more question. So, so I hope with this course it will give a basic knowledge, basic idea if somebody want to go for organic farming or develop some entrepreneurship. There are some examples, people have taken training in vermicomposting and they have become a very good entrepreneur, and they have the annual turnover maybe the crores of rupees through vermicomposting. So, somebody can be very dedicated and sincere, and if you want somebody want to become entrepreneur and do for organic farming. I have given the example of the one of our student last class also. He is, we are happy to note that many of the educated mass they are entering to this farming sector, and once they enter, because farming can be beautiful, it can be very precise and very technological intervention can be done, so that we can have a better production. And the question from Krunal, so are there any chances that government will promote organic farming? Is there any regulatory body which monitors pesticide, toxic chemicals labels in this food? So, it is a very good question you have put that one. So, see the first question, so chances government will promote. So, now government see the government Sikkim government, you can see the whole state of Sikkim that has been declared as a organic states. No? So, there is no use of any chemical fertilizer pesticide. So, that is what the policy induced. So, definitely government has to as I have given example of this organic farming in Europe, how this spread very quickly in Europe, because of the initially it was a production driven market, because the farmers were producing and supplying to market, that was not a successful business. The later on it became a demand induced market. First was supply induced, then came demand induced market, means there was demand among the consumers, the public demand was there to have a organic foods, because when the demand came, then there was a more and more land conversion comes to organics, and later then the government took a initiative and the policy induced market came, because the government because encourage the farmers for the conversion from the chemical to organic. So, definitely in Indian government they have to think of, so some policy type of policy, so that the more and more farmers can convert the land from chemical to organic. So, is there any regulatory body which monitors pesticide, toxicide chemicals? No, usually no, there are some it is very because no, when the product comes to the, unfortunately in Indian condition, when the product comes to market, it is not tested, it directly comes from the farmer's field or means of storage products. So, there is no regulations of the food quality, the what quality of food we are getting in the market. I am agree with you that we are also sorry with this, because there is no proper regulations, because I know the farmers, they are applying the pesticide in the evening, and the plucking they are the produce, harvesting their produce on the next day morning, and they are sending to market, which is highly poisonous. When you think of, if you are consuming those vegetables like the salad crops like cucumber, you take it raw, and if you are getting market cucumber, and that is also even the fruits you can say, and they are sprayed with with a high level of pesticides, and how you are consuming. So, that is a very bad part. And the other question from Anur is what type of crops can be grown by hydroponics. So, this usually you go for the high value crops, vegetables. We have seen that lettuce coming very well. Lettuce crop or the spinach, the leafy vegetables that come very nicely through hydroponic systems, and the crops like tomato is coming up well, broccoli you can do, cauliflower you can go, and so those capsicum even you can go through hydroponic systems. So, those crops, high value crops, you can go through hydroponic systems, and sometimes people go for the ornamental also, they are growing for the hydroponic systems. Next question is from Antara. What type of numerical be asked? So, exam pattern. So, Antara, so I have discussed about the exam pattern. So, the numeric, if you have joined late, I can say that there are 4 parts. So, one is the recall, that means, so whatever we have covered, we have in our top lecture materials. So, we do ask the question from the from those lecture materials, and there will be multiple choice. So, you have to select the correct answer, and the other portion is for the assignment. We pick up the questions from the assignment and put it, and that is also for the multiple choice. And the third part is you have to write only true or false. So, statement is given. So, you have to say whether the statement is true or false, and the last part, that is a numeric one, alpha numeric you say. So, there you have to write either specific words or the specific value. So, numerical will be there. So, some numerical will be asked about it may be the fertilizer dose, it may be the seed rate to be. So, as the numerical we have discussed in our the classes, those numerical will give the input data, whatever data required, data will be given in that question, and you need to solve the questions and write the exact value. So, that is what we do for the numerical. Usually you ask whatever numerical we have covered there in the lecture class, those numerical, but we will be providing the sufficient informations So that will be able to solve the numerical. This is not a very big task, only the small numerical, the level of mathematics may be class 8th, 9th or up to 10th standard mathematics, that will be able to do that one. So, what I say, this is we are almost at the close of the session, closing the session, and this is the second time we are running the subject organic farming for sustainable agricultural production. So, we will try to again we have the 8-week lectures, we will also we will try to add more lectures, we will make it also 12-week in future. So, because there is also demand from the students, and we will be very happy, because if more and more farmers from your activity or being entrepreneurs and coming to the field, if we can help the farmers and we are successful that converting more and more land from conventional farming to organic farming, then you will be very happy, you will be satisfied that there is because having these lectures, this online lectures, that has benefited the society. So, main purpose is how this can benefit the farmers, benefit the society. So, let us try all together with a community way, with a combined way, how we can convert more lands from the conventional, how we can minimize the use of chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides. So, there is one more question from Krunal. So, how can we take initiative to get pesticide regulation in place? So, see, this is if you can do or you or me, because it should come from the government levels. So, government levels like they have done for the for making the organic certification process. So, government level initiative can be taken. The product should be, before sending to market, that should be tested and field inspection, because some teams should be there. So, as a this should be a framed proper way, how we can regulate this one. There should be a proper team, some body, some that can recognize the body who can take care of this one, that can be as a tree, as all state levels, and even though that can go to the block level, village levels. Their job is to make sure that there is no use of pesticides, because not only from the product level. So, there is a field inspection, at the random inspections you can go to the field and see, and of course, the farmers, if you require the farmers visit the farmers residence and make sure that there is no pesticide available in the farmer house. So, that way if somebody can be taken up by with the initiative of the government. So, will be there is a must required actually for a healthy people, for a healthy living, we must control our food, the food quality must be tested. The food is coming to market, that must be tested, it should be free from the poison. So, that is that initiative can be taken by the government with the help of the scientist and the scientific body. ICR can take a role, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, they can propose this to government. With the government support, this can be a body can be formed all over the India, and we can take part of this one for these pesticide regulations. What is blood meal? No, this is this come for the slaughterhouse. When there is the slaughterhouse, they are the waste materials. As you see, there is a livestock slaughterhouse we collected from this waste material from the slaughterhouse. That is a blood meal. Yes. So, now we are coming to the end. I hope there is no more question. So, what I can say, so as you are concluding this session, so please try at your level. So, if you try our levels best to promote organic farming, and you see that the farmers are able to convert their land to organic farming at our level. So, we are also going to farmers field, we are encouraging farmers, but think that you have to give inputs farmers to go for organic farming and make sure that the production level does not go down. So, by our practice, the encouragement, and also we can have at any levels, how can you encourage the consumer, they should go for the organic products rather than conventional products. So, this is a consolidated and also integrated efforts from all sectors, not only from the teachers or the students, from the entrepreneurs, it should be from the government level. So, all this is a consolidated and the concentrated effort from all stakeholders to minimize the chemical fertilizers or the pesticide use, and to promote more and more use of the organic sources or the natural sources of fertilizers, By the way, we can live in a healthy environment, and we can have a healthy foods, good quality food, and we can have of course now the good quality water. So, we want the water to drink, good food and good air, good water, quality water. So, of course, if that happens, the actually a community, the farmers, the friendship among the farmers. Now, you can see many farmers, they are competing with each other. The neighbor, the farmer neighbors, they want to know, I want to get advanced by sacrificing the other farmers. No, we should grow together, we should build together. If together we can improve, then the nation can improve, not only one farmer can improve. So, farmer cooperative. So, that type of attitude we have to bring the farmers, we should help each other rather than compete with each other. The competition idea, that should be removed. The farmers should help each other. In that way, cooperative can be made. So, if you can grow together, then we can get a benefit. If you compete, we may not get the benefit, we may go on loss. By working together in a cooperative way, helping each other, we can expand this idea of organic farming, and this can be profitable. We are growing together, we are moving together. So, being together, that can bring a greater success in organic farming. I hope you will take care of this, and we will inculcate those ideas among these stakeholders wherever you go, and let us try out our best how we can convert from conventional farming to organic farming for betterment of the society, for betterment of each and every individual. With this, I thank you all, and for your patience listening for these live sessions, and thank you for your attending this lecture very carefully, very sincerely, and wish you all the best for the exam. But at the same time, I will say, do not worry about the exam, this is only a mark, but more important is how you can use this knowledge you have gained in your real field, in your the future career, how you can utilize this knowledge and bring some improvement among the farming community and among the society. With this, I thank you all. Thank you very much. Another question.